Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shook Sports Take podcast. And today I'm attacking one of the issues that is really taken the footballing world by storm. That is the European football, if you're American. It's soccer. And the fact that Mohammed Salah has recently done an interview pretty much berating Arne Slot and the club of Liverpool for leaving him on the bench in the last three matches. Consequently, he was then left out of the squad entirely for their trip to Inter Milan. And I can I can see both sides here. Now, I'm going to state very clearly that I think Salah is 100% in the wrong for making such a statement. And this is definitely something that should be handled behind the closed doors of the club. This shouldn't be out in the open. You've caused a lot of stress, extra stress that didn't need to be on Liverpool, who are already underperforming. You've put a lot of extra pressure now around the club, and that is something that they did not need. And Thierry Henry had said it the other night, pre-game to the Liverpool, that he had issues with Arsene Wenger and he had issues with Pep Guardiola, and yet you never would have known these things because he did a great job of keeping it in the house. I'm sure there are other managers and other superstar players that have had issues just like this, and you've probably not heard about it. So that being said, however, I do hear what Mohamed Salah is saying. I do see where he's coming from. He's made, only in the Premier League, he's made 301 appearances for Liverpool, and in that time frame, in those games, he's scored 188 goals and has 88 assists. That's 276 goal contributions in the Premier League for Liverpool. That number is stellar. The idea, however, that you are entitled to a place in the team is probably why Liverpool is struggling. Now, there's plenty of guys in that side that I think probably feel they're entitled to start week in and week out. Now, Salah's the only one that I think is thinking that because of what he's done at the club, but I bet you Florian Wirtz thinks that because of his £115 million price tag. I bet you Alexander Isak thinks that because of his £125 million price tag. And then the only one that's even close to Salah in a sense that he's earned it and he's done so much for the club would be Virgil van Dijk. But again, that sense of entitlement is probably the exact reason that Salah finds himself on the bench now. It's as simple as the moment a guy feels that he walks into the team and has no issues and he doesn't have to prove it, that's when you become relaxed, that's when you start to play poorly. And that's what Salah's been doing at the immediate moment. He's not playing very well. And that's led to the team dropping points. They're not winning games. I think they are 9 losses in their last 11 Premier League games. It might be 8 losses in their last 11, but I think it's only 1 win, and they've really struggled. And a lot of that comes from the lack of defensive intensity and the real willingness to let other teams counterattack. They're getting too far forward, not recovering well, and they're conceding a lot. And the issue with the way that Salah plays, in a sense, is that when he is playing well, it doesn't matter that he doesn't do a lot of work defensively. That doesn't matter. But when he isn't, and he's not performing. Now, the other issue with Salah, quickly, is that he doesn't really perform that well if he doesn't contribute a goal. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you take a player like Bukayo Saka can have a great game and not score or assist. Fulham this season, for example, he was the best player on the pitch that night and he didn't assist or score. But whereas Salah, when Salah's playing well, he scores, he assists, it's simple. But if he doesn't do those things, it feels like, or it looks like, and the numbers kind of back it, that he doesn't do a whole lot. And he isn't very effective if he's not finding the back of the net himself. So, or setting his teammates up to find the back of the net. So, if he's not scoring and he's not assisting, his lack of defensive work rate is an absolute killer, really. It leaves you exposed, and it's worth it when he is scoring and contributing 2 goals a game, but when he's not, you're just hurting the team. And so I understand from a tactical standpoint why Arne Slot has tried to change this, bringing in Dominic Szoboszlai to play that side. The work rate is much higher. He gives support to Joe Gomez or Jeremy Frimpong or Connor Bradley, whoever's playing in that right back position. And then the team is going to be more fluid and more solid defensively. So I understand it from a tactical standpoint why he thought that might make a change, and it does check out to try it. The issue that I have is that you've played 4 games without him. Now, the most recent one against Inter Milan in midweek in the Champions League, that was a great game from Liverpool, and this might be the turning point in this if they opt to go with this style and this switch in the formation. If they play this way without Salah, I think they might start to see this might be the turning point in their results. But up until then, you drew Leeds and you drew Sunderland. Those are 2 games that Liverpool, and the Sunderland draw is not as bad, but the Leeds draw, that's a game they should win. So you sit there as Mohammed Salah and you think, well, they've benched me, the performance hasn't gotten any better. I'm entitled for all that I've done for this Liverpool squad, and I don't want to say I'm entitled because that's what I was just bashing him for, but the sense of, you know what I can do, the performance hasn't gotten any better against the team that we definitely should have beaten, I should come back into the squad. I hear it because the performance hasn't gotten any better. They play just as badly without him, and you know the talent that he offers. So to almost leave him out again, in a sense of, well, we're just going to keep trying it. Surely, if you're going to try to figure it out, you'd rather have Salah in the squad, because if he can figure it out, then your team goes from good to great. Right, you go right back into challenging for trophies. So I do hear him. I do definitely think he went about it wrong. This is a conversation that should have been had in the manager's office, and that's it. It shouldn't have left there. It's almost a sense of, someone I was talking to, a friend of mine, was almost explaining it to as a relationship, right? You're the people outside the relationship, right, should never know that you guys are on bad terms. And I thought that was really wise. It was a great analogy, and just to look at it that way, that the press shouldn't have known that there was this issue. Obviously, we all knew it was going to be an issue that Salah is a player that's not going to want to sit the bench, right? But they should have led the media to speculate. The second that Salah comes out and goes, I'm not happy, it's ridiculous, I've done all of these things for this club, blah, 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 that's really made it real, and now there's a lot of tension, and now you've made it way bigger than it was. And that's an issue. But then, you look at the club side, and they're going to be very furious with the interview and the way it's all played out, and I hear them for that. I don't think they'll be wrong. I don't think they were wrong for leaving him out of the squad of the Inter Milan match. And I think that he's dug himself a hole. Like I said earlier, he has created a lot of extra tension, a lot of noise around the club that didn't need to be there when they're already not performing. There was already a lot of noise around Liverpool because they were playing so poorly. But now you've added a whole lot of extra pressure to a bunch of guys that didn't need it by any means. They certainly did not need this extra pressure, having already struggled so much to get results and not playing a great system. And tactically it just looks off. But now you've created a bunch of off-the-field noise. Bunch of speculation that was not needed by any means. I think it was a really selfish decision from Mohammed Salah to go ahead and air it out publicly. And I just don't understand what the thought process would have been. That was not going to help things. Going in publicly, he's made it worse. He's now not even in the squad when he's played when they've played at midweek, and I just can't wrap my head around why it would have been necessary to do that, what he thought it was going to fix. We saw Cristiano Ronaldo do the same thing when he sat down with Piers Morgan when Erik ten Hag had benched him. Or maybe it was right after he left United, sometime in that time frame. And it didn't really bode over well for Cristiano Ronaldo either. He left the club, either it was right after he left the club or maybe it was well after. I'm not sure. I don't remember the timeline of that interview, but we saw that, and that didn't bode over well for Cristiano Ronaldo either. A lot of people were like, oh, yeah, maybe Ronaldo wasn't the issue, but this has not made it any better. Making it public is never going to make it better, and I feel like Salah's really now going to struggle to get into the team, even though they're paying him all of that money in that brand new contract he just signed, I think he's really going to struggle to get into the team. Is certainly under Arne Slot. And I think it was just a really strange decision for him to do something like that. But that's kind of where my standpoint is that the fact that there was certainly better ways to handle it, and I don't think they're wrong tactically or in terms of team morale or in terms of the decision the club made. I don't think they were wrong in doing so, or in Arne Slot in the decision to bench him. I don't think he's wrong in doing so, and I definitely think Mohammed Salah is wrong in the way that he handled it. So that is kind of where I sit on this issue that has taken the press by storm. Yeah, please feel free to let me know your thoughts. Was Salah right? Does he have a point? Or are Liverpool and Arne Slot making the right decisions? Feel free to let me know. I hope you all enjoyed this episode, and hope you all take care.